Trump's most enduring aspect used to be in 2016 just that he would pick Supreme Court justices. And now that's back. Supreme Court justices, 2 could retire on his watch. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. Part of why we're happy is because our Supreme Court is going to be protected under Trump instead of ruined, monstrously so, for a lifetime under Democrats.
Beginning with the day right after Donald Trump won the White House back, they were really escalating the hypotheticals.
We're all doing hypotheticals on who Trump could appoint and who he could not, but there's real heat dusting up between 2 of the more vocal Supreme Court members are doing a little more back and forth, and that is Alito on the right and Kagan from the left.
The 2 of them are, really for their respective sides, as sharp-tongued and piercing as it goes when they're questioning the lawyer standing in the well of the courtroom.
They're known for being pretty brutal with the lawyers that come before them. They hit them pretty hard. Alito is a firebrand of a Catholic, and Kagan, I believe, clerked under Scalia. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's where she came from, and she was a Barack Obama appointee.
And they're both very aware of where the other justices are to try to figure out who's in play and open to persuasion. And the day after the election, there was a real competition on several hypotheticals going back and forth. They were trying to top each other. And at one point, Justice Kagan said, normally she doesn't even refer to Justice Alito, she doesn't look at him, who's sitting right next to her.
And imagine how passive aggressive that is. She sits next to him and she refers to him, but she won't turn and look at him. She despises him. And by the way, I've read their legal opinions, both Alito's and Kagan's. Kagan's, of all of the 3 lefties on the Supreme Court, she is the most professional and the most serious of them. It's not saying a lot, I know, but I'm saying at least she has some good legal DNA under her. She does still go to emotions and, personal preferences instead of the Constitution, but I'm saying she's not as bad as the other 2. I mean, Ketanji Jackson is probably second best, and the worst by far is Sotomayor.
She just goes after his hypotheticals, and she looks out at the spectators at one point and says, sometimes we really enjoy this. And Chief Justice John Roberts says a bit under his breath, only sometimes. And
I really like that sense of humor between them. I don't think it was a serious riff. I'm sure they do get into serious riffs, but I remember, I met Scalia back when he was alive at the Reagan Library. When he wrote his book, he signed it for me on the law. He was wonderful. He was famous for going out to lunch with Ginsburg, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Of course, obviously, she'd be a flaming lefty opponent of his. And they would giggle and go out on dates. Like they had a really good time together, and they really had a very deep friendship, even though obviously they didn't agree on each other's political theory. But I would also put Ruth Bader Ginsburg to the right of all 3 of these female justices we have right now, because Ruth Bader Ginsburg, remember, even she said that Roe v. Wade was poorly decided law. So I don't know if any of these other 3 justices would say anything like that.
Anyway, I think we're going to see more of that, and more of that coming once Donald Trump actually takes the White House.
Get ready for some sparks to fly. And speaking of sparks flying, this is where we're going now, is to Twitter. Here's a lefty. Worse than a Republican-controlled House, Senate, and presidency. With 2 more Supreme Court justices set to retire this term, my imagination tells me we are effed right now, and we'll spend the rest of our lives dealing with the fallout. And you're in here doing what? I'm going to guess which 2 they're talking about retiring. The 2 oldest would be Clarence Thomas and Alito. Both have said that they're not going anywhere, but it might be if they think like it's time to, make sure that it happens under a conservative like Trump, they might early retirement. There could be we're going to go into a lot more of the retirements in just a second. What numbers are going to pack the court. Here's from a tweet, stop Project 2025. Of course, we're all still wondering, what's Project 2025? Here's, so what's the answer to the biggest money? Musk. And the biggest mouths, Rogan, and the biggest ego, Trump, and the most corruption, the Supreme Court. Have this already in the bag? It's hopeless, isn't it? Yes, it's hopeless. Stop Project 2025. We just want you to give up and surrender, give up. But remember, it's the Democrats who had the cockamamie theory that I'm going to propose now that we follow. Remember how they said that they wanted to pack the court? I think it's time now for the Republicans to pack the court with 15 Supreme Court justices, all conservative, including putting Alex Jones, Vivek Ramaswamy, Stacey Mace, Elise Stefanik. Let's get some girls on there. Let's get some minority women on there, like Candace Owens. It's not our idea. It's the Democrats' idea. Here's their tweets from NBC News. This is from back in April. Democrats to introduce a bill to expand the Supreme Court from 9 to, they're going as many as 15. Facebook, Democrats want to pack the Supreme Court simply because, here's Thune, Democrat Supreme Court reforms amount to packing the Supreme Court. Democrats still hope to remake the Supreme Court in 2025. This is back when they thought they would win the election back in August. Democrats plan to pack the Supreme Court. That's from April 22nd. Democrats push for court packing after controversial. This is from July 5th of last year. And I'm only saying, where's all those Democrats now? Let's pack the court now. Let's expand it to 15, 13 Supreme Court justices now that's under Trump. Oh, you're not interested because it was never about principle. It was always about breaking the law or bending the law or ignoring the Constitution or ignoring stare decisis or ignoring customs to create a new law to benefit your politics. It always has been. It always will be. That's why we never put an X next to a Democrat's name on a ballot. I'm Doug in Exile. What do you guys think? Who would you appoint to packing the court with 13 conservatives? Let's hear it in the chat below.